Hello, dear all. Welcome back. This is Sheila Says, a quiet space where we pause and reflect together, especially as we are living in a time of so much movement and uncertainty. And in the middle of all this, many people are still asking the same ancient questions. Where is God in all of this? What does faith look like now? And how do I live with love when the world feels so fractured? This channel was created for those questions as reflection points. Last time we talked about something within us, a inner being, that deeper place, that part of us that feels, longs, and searches for something more. We reflected that this shows up both when everything is going our way and even when nothing seems to be going our way. Today, in part 2 of this 7-part series, we stay with that inner place a little longer and we ask gently, why do we still struggle, even when we want to live with love? Because if we are honest, it's not always easy. We want to be patient, but we snap. We want to let something go, but it stays with us. We want to do the right thing, but something inside pulls the other way. And it's not just small things. Sometimes what happens inside us shows up in ways that actually hurt people. We say things we don't mean. We break trust. We act out anger, fear, or impulse. And sometimes it goes even further. Things like cheating, lying, stealing, even harming others in deeper ways. We can't take those lightly because someone gets hurt in the process. But at the same time, life is not always simple. Sometimes people do things not out of carelessness, but out of survival. Stealing because there is no food, selling one's body because there is no support, and so on and so forth. Choices made in systems that are already broken. So it is not always black and white. And understanding complexity does not mean we ignore harm. So this is not about saying everything is okay, but about understanding what is happening so that the real change can begin. And sometimes, if we are honest, there are moments when we know what we are doing, moments where it is not confusion, not lack of awareness, but a choice. And those moments matter because someone is affected. And that too is something we have to face honestly, not with shame, but with responsibility. Because love also cares about what is right and about the impact we have on one another. And maybe that is where many of us feel confused. Because we don't want to judge, but we also know something is not right. This is where I want us to pause and reflect. What is really going on underneath all of this? What actions do we judge? Because when you look closely, whether it is something small or something more serious, there is often a pattern. Sometimes it's a lack of love, and sometimes it's lack of control. Doing something we know isn't right, but feeling like we can't stop ourselves. And maybe you have felt that too. The tension between, I don't want to do this, and why am I still doing this? There are words in scripture that say it so honestly. In Romans 7th chapter, St. Paul says, I do not do the good I want to do. That's not judgment, that's just being human. And this is where I have come to see something differently, that what we often call sin. The word sin is not just a big word about rules, it's pointing to something deeper. Places where love is missing, or where love has been distorted. Sometimes because we have been hurt, sometimes because we are acting out of fear, sometimes because we have lost connection with what is good. And sometimes we are aware of it, and sometimes we are not. But either way, someone gets affected, including ourselves. And maybe this is also important to hold gently that human life is complex. There is a wide spectrum of human behavior, shaped by pain, by desire, by brokenness, and sometimes by a deep longing to feel whole. And in the middle of all this, it can be easy to fall into labels, but perhaps that's not where we begin. Because at the core of everything, every person carries dignity. Every person is deserving of love. So the question is not simply how we label people. The question becomes how do we live in love, in truth, and in care with ourselves and with one another? Is it not what the commandment that Jesus says to us? And maybe that is where this reflection is leading us. And here is the part I want to say very gently. Guilt is not what fixes this, because most of us already know when something isn't right. The real question is what do we do when we see it? How do we change something that feels deeper than just behavior? How do we respond when we lack control? And this is where Jesus becomes very real, not as someone standing far away, but as someone who steps into that exact place. Think of the woman in John 8th chapter. She was caught in a situation that others were ready to judge. Jesus does not ignore what happened, but he also does not shame her. He creates a space for her. He protects her dignity and then gently says, "Go and live differently." Not from fear, but from awareness. And maybe that is where this begins for us too. Not with perfection, not with pressure, but with awareness. Asking honestly, am I aware of what I'm doing? Who is being affected by my actions? Is this coming from the place of love or something else? And slowly learning to come back to love, not alone, but with help, with guidance, with something deeper than willpower. We will talk about that next time in this 7-part series. So don't forget to tune in. And maybe we can pause here for a moment and notice what is beginning to change. Before, we may have seen things more simply struggle, sin, and then trying to fix it, almost like actions and labels. But through Jesus, something begins to shift. We begin to see more clearly that our struggle is not always simple, that what we do outwardly doesn't always come from the same place within us. Sometimes it's a moment of losing control, sometimes it's confusion within the mind, and sometimes it comes from something deeper, a place where love feels distant and not fully formed yet. And this is where Jesus brings clarity, not to just to do what we do, but to what is happening within us, not to judge us, but to help us understand what needs healing. And maybe this is the shift from simply labeling actions for ourselves and also for others to understanding the heart behind them, from seeing people as a right or wrong to recognizing dignity and the need for restoration, from trying to fix everything outwardly to allowing something deeper within us to be restored. And maybe that is what this journey is about, not becoming perfect and expecting perfection from others, but becoming aware, not living in fear, but learning to live in love. For now, let's gently sit with this, not with fear, not with shame, but with honesty, because the struggle you feel does not mean something is wrong with you, and the struggle you see in others does not mean something is wrong with others. It means something within you or in others is still being restored. And we are not alone in that. Until next time, then, thank you for tuning in today. Bye for now.